Comparing and ordering integers. Definition of an integer. Basically, it's numbers. Okay? They can be negative, they can be positive, it can be zero. But integers are numbers. You should know that by now, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. We probably learned that in like 2nd grade, geniuses, right? I know you guys are smart. Okay? So integers are numbers. You can have negative integers, you can have positive integers. Negative integers are anything less than 0, numbers less than 0. Okay? So on my number line, it's anything to the left. Okay? Negative integers are integers less than 0. Positive integers are integers greater than 1. So anything to or greater than 0 is what it should say, right? Why did I write 1? I'm crazy. It should be greater than 0. Whoops. My bad. Okay. Positive integers are integers greater than 0. So anything on the right of my number line. Absolute value. Who knows what absolute value is? What? Oh, you just gonna read it?
No, I learned that last.
Okay, the distance from 0 on a number line. Absolute value always has to be what?
Absolute.
What type of number? What type of integer is it always? It's always a positive integer because I'm finding distance. Do I have negative distances when I'm measuring things? Not yet. Maybe when we get to like below sea level and stuff like that. But right now we're not messing with that. Okay? So absolute value is always a distance and it's always a positive number. Okay?
I'll read that one.
Opposites. Opposite numbers. Okay? Opposites are two numbers that have the same absolute value. So who can give me an example of opposite numbers? Shout it out.
6 and 12.
No?
4
Or
negative
4, negative 4. Good, Corey. 4, negative 4. So opposites, like 4 and negative 4 are opposites. 2, negative 2. 6, negative 6. 33 and 2/3 and negative 33 and 2/3. Things like that, okay? Opposites. So that's what we're looking for. Those are the 5 terms that are in this chapter. They're all in bold in your book as well. If you have your book for me, turn to page 22 because I want us to look at a graph and read some things off of it. You can share with your neighbor if you need to. You can get it online if you need to. But turn to page 22. 22. Okay, 22 has this first example that talks about supercooled insects. And it has a diagram for us as well. So that's why I want us to look. It says water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius, but some animals can resist freezing by producing a chemical that lowers the temperature at which the water in their bodies freezes. Kind of cool, huh?
Sure.
This temperature is called the supercooling point. Which of the insects listed in the table has the lowest supercooling point? So, we're going to look at this table, and I need you to tell me which one has the lowest supercooling point.
The woolly bear caterpillar.
Why the woolly bear caterpillar?
It can stand up to negative 70 degrees.
It's negative 70, right?
Yeah.
So when we're talking negative numbers, the bigger it is, the smaller it is, yes. The bigger it is, the less it is. Okay, so negative 7. So the woolly bear caterpillar has the smallest freezing, or the greatest freezing point, or whatever. Okay, so look at that chart, and I'm going to ask you to tell me, we know negative 70 is, if I were to put this on a number line, we know negative 70 would be our lowest cooling point, correct?
Yes.
How would I arrange the rest of these numbers on a number line?
Go to the right.
Okay, you want me to travel to the right, okay? And what's next then? Somebody tell me what's next. Negative what?
Oh,
Look at the chart. No, I mean, sorry. I can do this math. You tell me what the chart says, what the next coolest number would be.
Negative 54.
Negative 54? So where do I graph that on here? I don't have a 54.
You put it between the.
Okay, and it's going to be a little bit more to this side, right?
Yes.
And I'm going to label it. Okay, so when you're doing number lines for me, I need you to label it. What's next after negative 54? Negative 35, so once again, that's going to be dead center between negative 40 and negative 30. Then what's next? Negative 19. So right here, right? Oops, I have to think. And then what's last? Negative 9. So, is it positive 9 or no? It's negative. Okay, negative 9. So that would be how I number it on a number line. Yes?
Yes.
We can handle that?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, blue. The rest of the lesson is just stating absolute values or stating opposites. Okay, what is the absolute value of 5? 5. What is the opposite of 5?
-5.
Okay. Okay. What is the absolute value of negative 7?
7.
7 is the absolute value. What is the opposite of negative 7? 7. Okay, so in this case, those answers are the same. So this is absolute value, and this is opposites. Okay, what is the absolute value of 10?
10.
Good, and what's the opposite of 10? And what's the absolute value of negative 1/5?
1/5.
1/5, okay, gotta remember that. And what's the opposite of negative 1/5?
1/5.
Okay, don't get confused. Absolute value always comes out positive. Okay? Evaluate. When I say evaluate, what does that mean again?
Answer.
Answer. So I want you to evaluate these 3 problems when y is negative 5. What do I do on A?
Oh, the
Isn't it positive 5 for,
It is, but let's talk about how do I plug that in.
you put the 5 with the y, but then since y equals -5, a negative plus a negative equals a positive.
Okay, so I'm going to have this negative that's with the y right now, correct? Then I'm going to put parentheses. This is how you would write it. And I'm going to put -5 there. So then it basically tells me -1, because there's a 1 with this negative, times -5. What does that give you? 5. No, a negative times a negative is a positive. So then you're going to get 5 as your answer. Okay? You see how I'm doing this?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me on this next one. I have 17 minus the absolute value. What goes inside there? -5. Okay. Now, here's the tricky part. What is the absolute value of -5?
5.
So then I get 17 minus 5. Okay? And the reason that is there is because this sign was on the outside. Does that make sense? Okay. So what's 17 minus 5? Okay. Now, same type of thing. I have 12 minus, and I'm going to plug in what again? -5. So what do you get?
Positive 5 or say 7.
Positive.
Yep. I get positive, the absolute value of -5 is positive 5, but I have a negative again, so I get 12 minus 5, which gives me
7.
Okay. Can you handle that stuff? Do we need more examples? You do? I can help you one-on-one. We can work on it. Okay? That's literally everything that this section is over. Okay? Section. I know. My words slurred, sorry. Okay, so that's what this section is over. Ooh, I have one last question. They didn't go over, but tell me if you know how to do this. Let's say they give you something that says 0, and they give you a blank like this, and they say -4. And they say, tell me if it is, fill in the blanks of the question mark with either this or this.
Yeah.
What would you fill in?
Greater.
Greater than. Which one's greater than? The one facing to the right or the one facing to the left?
Right.
Right. Left makes an L. That stands for less than. Okay. So 0 is greater than -4. You're gonna have some of that on your homework too, where you have to do a little fill in the blanks like that. Can you handle that? Okay. I figured you knew what that was. Okay.